But you look at somebody like me, I grew up here. There's nothing you can tell me about Memphis that I don't already know.
There's nothing you can tell me about Memphis. From the boardroom to the streets.
That I don't already know.
With Mike from Memphis, man. Together, we can fix things. Really.
Watch on Comcast, Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, YouTube, Facebook Live, and all other digital platforms.
He saw things weren't fair, so he chose to run for mayor. You get up and do something when you really care. It's Memphis 360.
I'm with you. I'm with you. In the meantime,
it's Memphis 360.
In the meantime, in between time, we got folks shooting people up out the frame. Anybody said a word. We've become accustomed to people dying in this city.
Yeah, it's Memphis 360.
Turning the TV on and the news and see our loved ones and see young people that are out of control. And now you see, okay. We talk about incarceration. We talk about the youth. We talk about giving them the ability. We talk about investing in young people and investing in the community. See, I hate ignorance. I hate when people make decisions about things and they make statements and they haven't done their research.
How can you fix the problem when you don't even know what the problem is?
We need some help in this city. We need some help in this city.
It's Memphis 360.
See, I hate ignorance.
It's Memphis 360. Man.
And good evening. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Memphis 360, the television show that's coming from the grassroots. We like to say we like to go from the boardroom to the streets. We like to talk to the mayors, the commissioners. We want to talk to all of those individuals that are in prominent positions, but we also want to talk to the individuals that are actually out there in the streets making it happen. You know, at some point we got to merge the two. To get them to be able to fix a lot of the issues that are going on in this city. I don't think the top can just fix the ills and woes of the city of Memphis and Shelby County without knowing what the individuals on the bottom are thinking and what they're wanting and what they want to do. The phone lines are going to be open. You can call at any time. The number is 244-6874. 244-6874. And guess what? We made it into 2022. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. You know, this is great and wonderful things. A lot of people didn't make it. And a lot of people didn't make it with good health and strength and all of the things that some of us may have at this particular time. I know we're going through another period of COVID. I have to enunciate that, COVID, because my wife always gets on me because I said COVID. And she said, no, it's not COVID, it's COVID. If you're gonna go out there, Michael, enunciate. So it's COVID. This is a different strain though. You know, when we had the Delta variant and the original variant of COVID-19, we had a lot of people that were succumbing to that particular virus back in 2021 and in 2020. But now we have the Omicron variant, and a lot of the symptoms are appearing to be similar to the flu. You know, we still got a lot of young people that have not been vaccinated. We got some older people that have not been vaccinated. They're finding that individuals that have been vaccinated, it's not affecting them as bad. But I would encourage everybody to go ahead and get vaccinated. So that, you know, when you go around your grandparents or you go around, hopefully it'll be harder for you to catch. I done dodged the bullet a couple of times. I think I've been tested twice in the last 15 days because I've come in contact with somebody who actually had it. But I will tell you that I have been to the doctor twice, got tested twice at my doctor's office, and thank God I keep popping up negative. So you guys need to go and actually get tested. All right. Hey, guess what? We talked about it. In 2021, it was 346 homicides. We beat the record, y'all. That's nothing to brag about. I think we hit like #1 most violent city in the nation per capita. That's not a good list to be on. But we had 346 homicides. That was up from 232, which was the record we set in 2016. So we beat that record by 100 and something. Jesus. That ain't something we want to be proud of. And guess what? We're already on a record, on a course this year to possibly exceed that record. That is not something we should be proud of. You know, we've had individuals that have been killed. We had a 1-year-old that was killed last night here in the city of Memphis. A couple of days ago, we had a 13-year-old that was shot out in South Memphis. And I believe the 18-year-old that was with the 13-year-old in South Memphis succumbed to their injuries. One of the big things that's going on here in the city of Memphis, guess what? They captured the supposedly killers of young Dolph. I think it's Mr. Justin Johnson. He was captured up in Indianapolis, up in Indiana. But he is a native Memphian, and he's familiar with a lot of people here in the city of Memphis. So I'm not going to go into all of that. And then you had Cornelia Smith, who is 32. He was also captured here. He was already in jail down in Mississippi, and they were holding him on possible theft, carjacking charges for the actual white Mercedes-Benz that was recovered. You know, I am so glad that hopefully they're going to bring some type of closure to this particular incident. Like I said, I'm not going to get into all of the things that are surrounding it because it's been out there in the news media and there are so many people that are talking about it. I'm just glad that that family got closure. And as I was talking about that a little bit earlier today, one of the things somebody said was, you know, I wish as much attention was paid to all of the other 345 different cases that occurred in the city of Memphis as well. And because those individuals meant just as much to their family as young Dolph did to his. And I'm quite sure that the Memphis Police Department Homicides Bureau is working tirelessly to be able to solve those crimes. And I know for a fact that they're trying to do everything they can to bring some type of closure. But guess what? They can't do it by themselves. They need help. As always, and you better believe there were people on the other side. You know, they say snitches get stitches, but there were people on the other side, on the down low, that were telling the police what was going on for them to be able to put all of these pieces together, to be able to actually take these two individuals in custody. Because like I said, one was all the way in Indiana, the other one was down in Mississippi. And the United States Marshals had been tracking those guys. But that was probably based on tips that they were getting from individuals. But I'm so glad because there are other individuals that were possibly hurt because of this particular homicide. They kind of tried to attach the young man who was at Oak Court Mall who was shot with the 9-month-old baby. They also have hypothetically attached the young man who was killed at the gas station, who was a comedian, and he was possibly also attached to it. So that is a good thing. You know, it was funny, not funny, funny, haha. One of the things that happened too was Chief C.J. Davis. Somebody broke into a car that she was in and actually stole her handgun. And it was funny because I was following the story in the Commercial Appeal. And I guess the Commercial Appeal, the spin they put on it, they kind of wanted to hold C.J. Davis accountable. And they wanted to know who does she answer to? Because if that was an officer, when I was the president of the Police Association, if in fact that was an officer, that officer would be charged, money would be taken out of his check, you know, because policy and procedure says if you're going to have your vehicle, if you're going to have your weapon in a vehicle, the only way you can store it is in a locked box that's attached to the vehicle. Now, if they weld it out of the vehicle and all of that, then good to go. But I don't think hers was attached to the vehicle because they said it was a Porsche Panamera. I don't think it was welded to that car. So I guess individuals wanted to know, how was she going to be held accountable? And it was funny because Mayor Strickland did do a statement, and he did it on Live at 9. And Mayor Strickland said, "She and I have spoken about this, and we're moving forward. She has my full faith. And what we are focusing on is rebuilding our police department." Now, I wonder if they're going to say that every time an officer's gun is stolen. If they're going to say that we're focusing on rebuilding the police department and we're not going to hold these officers accountable for the weapons that have been stolen out of their cars. I just thought that was kind of funny. But you know, ironically, what that does is it allows Chief C.J. Davis to she has actually been victimized now. The new chief of the police department has actually been victimized here in the city of Memphis. And I think she handled it pretty well. You know, she said some good things in regards to it, you know, but she is always very professional. I will definitely give her that. She said, "This incident is a vivid reminder that even as police officials, I am not immune to the criminal activity that occurs so blatantly in our city." Davis said in a Facebook post, "Carrying my weapon on or near my person has been a career long-time practice on and off duty, like so many others in our city. I am outraged to have property stolen and angered that my gun may be used unlawfully to commit a crime. This was an unfortunate incident and a reminder of the public safety challenges we face as a community. This will only strengthen my resolve to get weapons, guns off our streets and bring those perpetrators to justice." That's what that new chief of police for the city of Memphis. Welcome to Memphis, Chief C.J. Davis. I would almost say that now you like one of us, but not yet, not yet, because you still have not suffered a lot of the woes that a lot of the individuals that have been here in the city of Memphis for a long time have suffered. I have been watching Chief C.J. Davis. I'm going to eventually try to get her on the show. I wanted to wait for a while and allow her the ability to be able to kind of get a feel for the Memphis Police Department, get a feel for the city of Memphis. And then we're going to kind of try to talk to her to see where she at. Because I was watching a news conference when they were announcing that they had captured the two individuals. It was actually 3 individuals that are possibly connected with the murder of young Dolph. And they didn't say anything in that. I don't know why they held a press conference, because they didn't really say anything that nobody already knew. And I understand that they really can't say anything because it is an ongoing investigation. And a lot of the information they can't give out, because my thing is this, we don't know where this is going to end up. We don't know if it's going to go further. We found out that there was another individual who was involved, but it was after the fact, I believe, after the murder, after the homicide, in that he assisted, aided and abetting a fleeing felon, you know. So there's no telling who else may come out in this investigation. So they don't want to tell too much because this is a high profile case. And they want to make sure that they eventually bring closure and bring it to fruition. Well, all right. Hey, we're going to open up the phone lines. Number is 244-6874, 244-6874. And like I said, I have a guest in the studio. I'm excited about this. This is one of the first political guests that we're going to have on during the political season. And I don't really consider this a political deal right here. I consider, Commissioner Eddie Jones as one of the, the guy's down to earth. You can definitely always talk to him. I think he kind of like me. I'm not going to necessarily agree with everything you say, but I will listen to you. He has always answered my calls. And the thing I like about it, he's a native Memphian. He went to high school here in the city of Memphis. Right now, he's District 11. And he covers Fox Meadows, Hickory Hill, Oak Haven, Parkway Village, in Whitehaven. And he is a graduate of, I'm sorry, Hamilton, Hamilton High School. It ain't Manassas, okay? But it's Hamilton High School. You know, that's when they thought they were getting a little bougie and moving kind of further out, you know what I mean? He's a graduate of Hamilton High School. He has committed himself to serve the city and the county for over 40 years. And one of the other things that we have in common is that he was actually on the Memphis Police Department. And he was on the TAC unit. You know, that's supposed to be the elite of the elite. You know, when I was in the Army, I was attached to 5th Special Forces on what they call Special Operations Team, Special Operations Detachment Alpha or Bravo. I was on the Bravo. And, you know, you train to fight. You train to hopefully you don't have to fight. And then eventually a fight comes, and it's almost like clockwork. You're so in tune and you fine tune and you're just doing it. And that's you know, everybody's trying to get on the TAC unit. A lot of young people aspire and want to get on the TAC unit. But we're going to ask him some questions. And I'm going to open up the phone lines, and you have the ability to talk to Commissioner Jones. I'm going to ask him the questions that I want to ask him. But you'll be able to call in as well. And like I said, the number is 244-6874, 244-6874. What's up, Timberly Hope? What's up, Chief Garrett? What's going on? So I'm going to invite Commissioner Jones. We're going to put him in the hot seat, y'all. Eddie Jones, who is in the house. It looks good up there, Commissioner. You think it look good?
It looks good.
Looks good. But I'd rather had the chair in the background and the little mouse running across. No, I'm just kidding. Ain't no mice in here. But the little mouse running across the floor and all of that, and be able to interact with my people. I can't tell what my people are doing now. But you know, this is just trying to move to the next level and get it going right. So welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Whatever.
Yes, thanks for having me. I listened to your intro. You went back a ways in our history, working on the police department and all of that. And so, be quite frank, a lot of people probably didn't even know that.
Didn't know you were on the police department.
And during that time on the police department, one of those who were that made it to the TAC unit.
Right.
And when it was very difficult for a person of color to even get there.
Yeah.
And so when we look at today's world and we talk about democracy and equality across the board as it relates to race, a lot of that was happening back then. And so you would have think by now we would have overcame all of that, but in the world that we live in today with democracy being a main focus, that's a lot of what's happening in this community today. And so we're seeing all of that because of the gun violence and all of that. So if you were to go back and you were to look at when did all this gun violence just really peaked? And it's pretty much when the state put out that permitless handgun carriage. You started having more vehicles broken into, and we started seeing more gun violence. So this is a much broader and bigger conversation about democracy and where we are going forward right now.
I'm going to tell you, I beg to differ on that handgun deal. And it's just Mike Williams' opinion.
Okay.
You know, you're entitled to your opinion, but that's just my opinion. I think the crime started to peak before that. I think this added to it because, like I said, in 2016, we set a record for homicides in the city of Memphis, and crime was already starting to increase and on the rise. I think that, for me, I think that when we started to decentralize a lot of the projects, we had Foot Home, Dixie Home, Claiborne Home, we had Lemoyne Guard, we had everything kind of centralized. And yeah, you had to focus the police in those areas. But then when they kind of broke those down, and a lot of individuals who weren't used to being homeowners, a lot of individuals who moved out of those areas, because that was prime real estate, sir. It's just Mike Williams' opinion. Prime real estate. So it being prime real estate, a lot of these people, because now you see the crime is in Hickory Hill, Cordova is getting really bad, you know, so it's been decentralized because a lot of those individuals are now in, a lot of people, a lot of renters here, well, there are a lot of realtors outside the city that's buying up a lot of property, and there are also a lot of individuals that are in the city that used to live in the city in Hickory Hill and Cordova that have left those houses, and they may still own them or something to that regard, and they have Section 8 them. And you got individuals moving into those homes. But I also think that it's social economic as well. I do, because there's the gap and the disparity in economic wealth, even in the city of Memphis, I believe is actually widening. Do we have more African Americans that are living above the poverty level? Yeah, but we still have a 27% poverty rate, though. You know, that's pretty high. So, and I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. So don't think that. I'm just saying, you know, from my perspective, as I sit back and just kind of look, I was like, wow, man. You know, because even then I was on the police department and I was kind of tracking it. So, and I was very interested in how the crime was progressing. And now it's like this, it's going. And even when you had the issues with recruiting police officers and different things like that, and I always say, more police ain't always the solution to the problem. That's not it. It's a piece of the pie. You got to do some other things. You know what I'm saying? So, you being the police, and I was going to ask you that question, how do we fix this?
Well, I think a lot of it is what you just said. So, people started moving out, and so I took you from this area, now I stuck you here and here. And where all of that is happening there. So when you go back and you look at, so what took place? Hey, we moved you, now you here. All right? No real responsibilities of home ownership, your renters and all of that. So the crime volume starts to go up because they took that behavior out to a community that didn't have it. So now that they have it, some of the things that I think that we have to do to fix it, when I look at it from just a lot of the positive things that we had in those communities were taken away.
Okay.
So let's start with our community centers and all the programming that we had for these kids. If that doesn't exist anymore, then they opt out into other things that are bad for the community.
Right.
So I believe that we got to bring that back and at least give them positive opportunities to be able to have those other options. Right now, it's just one option on the table. You're either going to do this or go to gangs or back and forth. And it didn't just translate from our boys, it translated to our girls as well. So it affected the community as a whole with our youth. And so a lot of what you're seeing today right now, and that's who it's happening to our babies, to the future generations that should be here when we move on.
Well, we just talked about a 1-year-old that was killed last night. We had a 13-year-old that was involved in a drive-by a couple of days ago. Right before Christmas, we had, I think in the month of December, we had a 9-month-old that was shot. Wasn't killed at Oak Court Mall. Then we had another one who I think was 1 or 2 that was actually killed. I mean, we got babies that are dying. And I don't understand how come, even from the politicians, there has not been an outcry, you know, and I have seen you say things, I have. But I'm talking about as a whole, there hasn't been an outcry to say, hold up, stop. Before we can do anything else, we got to make sure that the citizen's okay. You know,
Right.
In to me, in any other environment, I believe that the citizens would actually rise up. You know, if this was Collierville, okay, if this was Germantown, if this was Bartlett, okay, I think they would be, and for some reason, I almost feel as though we have become complacent and we become numb to what's going on. You know what I mean? Because we marched in the 60s and all of that for civil rights. And we weren't even we were being affected, but it wasn't by our own. And I think that's another part of the problem. Hey, the number to call is 244-6874, 244-6874. We have Commissioner Eddie Jones from District 11 in the house. And if you want to ask him a question, don't just make me put it. Don't just let me grill him up in here. Y'all come on, get a piece of this. And I can't see my little comments, so I don't know how you see the comments on this thing. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so to your point, the shooting at the Kroger in Collierville, you see how they came together. And Exactly. And so it's that the same measure that was put there needs to happen in our community, because guess what? It's happening more and more in our community than it did. It only took that one event. How many more events do we have to add to the already negative events that have happened, that have harmed, hurt, tore families apart, and loss of life of our babies? And so I'm always, at the commission, I'm working, I'm thinking, and so I'm working with multiple groups to bring these type of new programming back in, so that our children will have something positive to do. Actually working with the Power League now.
Okay.
Work with our young people and galvanizing that group of people. There are some other people that so it's about connecting our community back, because we're so disconnected in how we deal with families, how we deal with children. And so until we lay the surface of what needs to happen, and everything else can grow from there. Right. Everything else can grow from there. But you have to have a starting point the kids got to say, enough is enough. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this. And kind of figure out, how do we help them to understand.
But when you have kids that are growing up in violence, we talked about a 1-year-old that was killed last night. On my way here, somebody was telling me about a 17-year-old girl that had got shot down in Whitehaven yesterday. We talked about the 13-year-old girl that was shot and the 18-year-old that was killed. We're talking about all of these things, and it's kind of like, like I said, we become desensitized. And we have a lot of young people that are traumatized. So how do we get their attention? Well, first of all, I think we have to possibly, we got to invest.
Yes.
We got to invest. We got to invest in the parents, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these kids are being raised by parents that don't know how to be parents, or don't take the responsibility to be parents, because it starts at home. Hold on. Caller, you on the air.
Yes, sir. Mike Williams, this is Joe Kent calling in.
Hey, what's up, Joe Kent?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Well, I'm really sensitive to a lot of what you're talking about, lost programming and things like that, that's really occurred over time. And all of my research points to when Memphis tomorrow took over, and you've got vast taxpayer injustice occurring in the city of Memphis by them ripping off the taxpayer on their pet project. And so just recently, before the county commission, they came and asked for $6.7 million. And pointing out to them how donor contributions have declined from 13 million to 2 million year over year, and how they have negative 4.9 million in proceeds from donors, as if somebody's getting money back.
Right.
And those were from their financials that were part of their legislative package that was presented to the commission in committee and also in full commission. And I want to ask Commissioner Jones, specifically Commissioner Jones, but I could ask any of them this, so I don't want to just target him. He wasn't the only one, but I want to ask him, why did he not ask Kyrie Daniels why private donations were not meeting their commitments as they were asking the taxpayer for $6.7 million for a project, a riverfront project, which is highly controversial, extravagant.
The riverfront project is that Tom Lee Park?
Yes, Tom Lee Park.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood.
There's all types of stuff that's spending money on the riverfront, which the community is not educated about.
Okay.
They're spending $10 million on the cobblestone, which is a city project.
Right.
They're spending more money on the Brooks Museum. All of this money is taken away from the city court, just like they ripped off the depot. And which you know about, Mr. Williams, you know about that because we were over there at the Veterans thing over on Veterans Day, where they ripped off the depot.
Right.
So I wanted to ask, they submitted financials information, and there's no discussion by this county commission.
Okay.
No questions asked by Commissioner Jones, but nobody asked Kyrie Daniels, who's there, and I was giving them the information about their financials, and I wanted to ask why.
Okay, let me give an opportunity to answer the question because that's a lot. That was a lot. That was a mouthful.
Trust me, Mr. Kent comes down to the commission quite often, and he does get up and he speaks about certain things that he has concerns about.
Right.
And so, but as it relates to their financials, all of that money had already been earmarked years ago. It was just that the administration was holding
the money back.
And they had came in and presented all of that and what the money would be spent on. And so most of the times when funds sit up there like that, because, and Mr. Kent was in those meetings and all of that when they came before. And so what took place was a lot of questions were asked about all of that then. But the issue was in this one, because the money had not been dispersed in the proper manner that it should have been, that they ended up having to give them that. So it was supposed to be 3.3 million, 3.3 million and 3.4, and that would have cured it all. It was supposed to be over a 3-year cycle.
Okay.
And because all of that, and they skipped a year or two. A lot of those financials that they probably brought had more to deal with the first year of funding that we gave them.
Okay.
There's no spending on what they came and got. Only thing that they got beforehand was 3.4 million from us. The county missed out paying them the next year, and they had to double that up. And so that's how they ended up getting the 6.6 million. And so those financials, as it would have related to the county, would have only matched what we gave was the 3.4. The rest of it was done because you had other people putting in, the city, the state. So I can't answer his question specifically, but I know what took place. So if they had any financial records of spending the money that we gave, it was only 3.4 million.
3.4. I think a lot of people are concerned because, and the reason why I wanted him to definitely say what it was, Tom Lee Park, and like he talked about the cobblestones down there for the boats and different things like that. But I was interested because a lot of people, what's happening to Tom Lee Park, a lot of the citizens didn't want. So my question would be, how come there was a push to actually make that happen? You had citizens that were protesting because they were talking about closing the lanes down on Riverside Drive. You had citizens that were saying, why are we love having, what's that thing they have every year?
Memphis in May.
Memphis in May down there on the river. And now you're going to put all of these little hills and trees and all of this kind of stuff down there. And it may be hard to have all of those people down there. And a lot of people think it was because of those people up there on the bluff that a lot of that stuff is occurring, because you had started having a lot of young people that were actually starting to congregate in that park as well. So what was the push if the citizens were saying, you know, and it almost reminds me of the Coliseum. You know, they always skirting around the Coliseum. They do it. That's a whole nother subject, sir.
Okay.
But anyways, back to Tom Lee Park. So why was there a push when you had citizens saying we don't want it? And I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about just as a whole, because it had to come from the city council, it had to come from the county commission as a whole to say, you know what, well, we're going to do this park. But you had citizens that were saying they didn't want it, but you had a couple of influential people who were saying this is what's going to happen.
So
I'm glad I do have you here now.
So yeah, absolutely. And listen, I don't mind talking about it. So when it came before us, there were only two groups that were really showed up at the meeting, and we had a bunch of meetings about it. Only two groups. That was the Memphis and May people and the Riverfront people.
Downtown, whatever.
Right. So they would come, and so it had got so contentious. What the commission said, I tell you what, y'all go out there and y'all put something together. The Memphis and May people, Riverfront people, and then y'all come back to us. And that's what they did. And so they came back with an agreement. And once they did the agreement, we voted on it, and that's how the money got approved. But it did not get approved until they agreed about Memphis in May and the Riverfront. And so that's what took place. But as far as citizens, they didn't come down to the commission and do it. You had two big groups up there, the Memphis and May people and the Riverfront people.
Yeah, but those were the two big organizations. Those are organizations.
Right.
And those are the two big organizations that stand to benefit from the millions that are going to be spent down there. But you do have citizens, and I know for a fact, there are citizens who were like, what are they doing? Why? You know, they didn't come down to the county commission. I will give you that. I don't know if they did or they didn't. I know one or two might trickle in, but they wasn't going to get no traction. But I do know that there was citizens out there, because I was watching. You know, a lot of times I just watch social media, and I watch because of COVID and all of that. I was watching the county commission's meeting online. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you could see how some of the citizens, how they felt about what was going on. And when you could tell when they shut down Riverside Park, and a lot of it may not have come to you guys because you're the county, but they were definitely over there at the city. You know, and it was kind of like, Jesus Christ, ain't that my money? Don't I have a voice?
It's taxpayer dollars.
How come for some reason it seems like I don't have a voice when it comes to how my money's spent? I keep telling them I don't want this. You had that big deal anyway about the Coliseum. Getting a little deep. Getting a little deep. Okay, so what are your plans? What are you gonna do?
So you know, this is my 7th year. September, I will be done. Because
September of this year?
September of 2022, because I'm term limited.
Okay.
So I would have served 8 years. And the next, I want to stay active in government because I have a true passion for helping the communities, the people that live there. And so my next move...
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Before you go down that road,
Okay.
because I see where you're going.
Okay.
I want to thank you, actually. You know, and you know me, I'm not the one to stroke people when I don't think they need to be stroked. Everybody know that. But I do want to thank you because you stepped up to the plate. I'm going to tell everybody, there's a veterans center over off of Ball Road. It's the old 1T or T1 or MAM complex. It's a couple of acres. It's got like a 9-hole golf course, I believe. It has basketball court, had a swimming pool. It's got all of these nice little lake areas and all of that stuff right next to the Army Depot. And I think that's what the last caller was talking about. And those guys were needing some help. They were desperately needing help. They were going to the city council. They were going to the county commission. They were trying to get money from the state legislators. And I'm going to tell you, they have a blind veterans center over there that the blind veterans go over and they fellowship and they do all kinds of things. I learned how to play blind hockey sack or whatever that thing was on Veterans Day. But they were desperately in need, and you stepped up to the plate.
Yes.
And I definitely want to thank you for that.
Well, and you're a veteran too, sir.
That's correct. That's why I want to thank you.
Right. No, let me first thank you for your service, because all of those veterans, the amenities that we have today right here in America was because what our veterans did and giving service first.
Yes.
And they came to me, they told me they had been here, they'd been there, and we couldn't get anything done. And at that point I says, I tell you what, tell me what it is you need.
Right.
And I'm gonna get it done.
Okay.
And so they came to me and they invited me out to the facility. I saw how it needed some repairs to the golf course, to the buildings itself. I went out during the summer. It was extremely hot.
Yes, yes.
Not just on the outside, but on the inside, because the air conditioning wasn't working. And so I said to one of the Vietnam vets, I said, man, how y'all gonna sit up in here in this hot building like this here?
Yeah.
And one of them gentlemen said to me, if you was in Vietnam, this ain't hot.
Out there in the jungle. Yeah.
Right. And so at that point, I went back and I found funding, and we gave them $450,000 to uplift that facility.
Wow.
And to start that program back up that they had to teach our young African-American boys how to play golf.
Right.
And to become men in the community.
Right, right. And, you know, I had been over there working. Matter of fact, I think I'm a member. I paid some money somewhere. I don't know, because that's the Vietnam Veterans chapter. However, I think I'm an affiliate member or something like that. And, you know, it's amazing when you see blind veterans, you see veterans that are disabled. They wanted to start an aquatic program to where they bring horses, because you got a lot of veterans that are have post-traumatic stress disorder. So they're trying to put a facility together. Guess what? Associated with Orange Mound, Castelia, Candlelight area, all of that, you know what I mean? Out in the heart of that, a facility for veterans so that they can go somewhere and chill and fellowship and different things like that. And I've been over there several times, and Mr. Reverend Perkins, he's kind of running the show and the place and different things like that, and he's been working really, really hard to try to make that place inhabitable, make it a safe place for veterans, and to put programs in there. And I was talking to him the other day, and he was, I had him to get in touch with, or he was trying to get in touch with Minority Speaker of the House, Karen Camper, and I got him in touch with her. And they're trying to possibly work something to where they can get like more tech or something like that to come out there and to actually teach VOTEC. So, but a lot of that wouldn't have been possible, sir, if you would not have stepped outside the box and stepped up to the plate. And there are a lot of veterans in this city, a lot of veterans. And then not only that, and just like when I was speaking about Tom Lee Park and how, I think the citizens should have a say in how the money's spent. These veterans deserve, and I don't want you to think it's just black veterans over there because it's out in that area. It's not. It's black veterans, white veterans, Hispanic veterans. It's just open to veterans. And then the other thing is they are opening the facility up to the public as well. So I wanted to personally, I couldn't wait to get you on the show to thank you for that, because to me, that was monumental, because nobody, and I couldn't believe it, the city kind of egged them off. Yeah, city council, I'm saying it. You know me, I ain't scared. They kind of egged them off. Then they were having problems just getting a hold of people and problems just trying to get some help. And Commissioner Jones, and they actually went to the commissioner from that district, and it didn't work. It just didn't work. And I'm not going to even call the commissioner's name, but they went to the commissioner from that district, and he did not step up to the plate. And that hurt my feelings. I'm telling you, it hurt my feelings. And I'm not even from that district, but it was because of, I think, with all of the veterans we have returning from Afghanistan that was over in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, or that are just in the military, period. They deserve to have something in the city of Memphis and in this community that's going to possibly address some of the issues that they have going on. The VA in this city is overburdened because everybody from the region comes to the VA. So it's good to have other outlets in this city that's going to possibly stop somebody from doing something really, really crazy, because a lot of these guys have seen some stuff that you would not want to see, been through some things you don't want to, would not have wanted to go through. A lot of these guys you see that are homeless, running around downtown, different places like that, they're veterans. And they just came back all messed up, man. So thank you again.
Yeah, but see, since we're on veterans.
Straighten me out.
No.
You're a veteran too?
No, I'm not a veteran.
Okay.
I'm, just a veteran of the people doing good work.
Okay.
Also, I sponsored $250,000 for a project that's called Patriot Village. That's going to happen. That they're going to be building homes for veterans. For veterans, yeah. So that's also in the works. Okay. We talk about things that are meaningful. When you're an elected official, you can do stuff like that that's meaningful. Me, it's always been veterans. It's always been our children. It's always been our senior. And it's always been our communities. Okay. And how do we uplift, upgrade, and do all of what we need to do. But just stay tuned, because there's something good that's coming for our children, especially in the Whitehaven community. Oh, wow. So, something that you just don't see in the inner city. So a STEM building is coming right now at Whitehaven High School. So all the schools in Whitehaven will be able to have access to it. And so if we continue on the path where we are, we're finally in the final stages. Started this a couple of years ago. We've gotten it up to more than 3/4 of the money raised to be able to do it. We just got a little bit more to go.
And where's that money coming from? Is that public donations?
So you're getting private donations, private, and a philanthropist. So whatever we get in private donations will be matched by the philanthropist.
And you say I saw on this that you're working with PAL as well?
Yes.
Okay, and that's Craig Littles.
Craig Littles.
Okay, yeah. I had the opportunity to go and speak to his kids at Christian Brothers, and man, they're doing some wonderful things.
Yes.
With those young boys and young girls. You're on Memphis 360. Go ahead, caller. Hello? Yeah. Yeah. What's up? The American Legion? Okay. Oh, I know what the American Legion is. Yes, sir.
I can't hear it.
Okay, hold on 2 seconds. Miss Debbie, I'm trying to get this volume up on this thing. And
Is it on the side?
Is that the last one I gave you?
yeah. I can hear him like this, but I mean, we just having all kinds of technical difficulties here. Oh, Lord.
Hello?
Hello?
All you had to do was hit speaker.
I hit speaker. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. We wanted to get you on the speakerphone because you're on the air. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. Terry Adams of American Legion. With the veterans that we've got in the community, and I work with them every day, we'd like to know what we can do to help with this community. You know, we're right in the middle of the 11th district.
Wow.
And
Okay, where are you guys located?
we're right off of between Rains and Winchester off Lamar.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's part of my district.
Okay. He said that's part of his district, sir.
I know, it's right in the middle of it. And, you know, what can we do to help?
Oh.
Hey.
We're always looking for good community programs.
You know,
We've been doing this for 102 years now, right here in the city.
Right.
you know what? It's very rare when you get somebody to call in and say, what can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do to help?
As opposed
and
to
so,
help us.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. There is a lot. And so I don't mind, so if you got a pen, because I don't mind giving my information out so that you can contact me directly. And then that's how engagement in the community can begin. So you got a pen ready?
Hello? Hello? Jesus. I may have hung up on him when I put it back on the stand. Hey, caller, if you're still out there, call back from the American Legion. I'm sorry. The number to call is 244-6874, 244-6874. We have Commissioner Eddie Jones in the studio, and Chastity Hill, I would love to help and be a part of this. Listen to Chastity Hill. Go ahead.
Listen, the more people that can get involved and bring joy and love back to our community.
Well, see, that's what we need. You know, we got too much hatred. You know?
Right.
We had a young lady that was killed at the Walgreens in the parking lot. We got people that are being gunned down in the streets here in the city of Memphis. We got just so much negativity that's happening in this city. We do need to return to love. You know what I mean? Showing a little bit more love, showing a little bit more compassion. Thank you so much, Chastity Hill, for chiming in. What's up, Tacker? What's up, Steve Tacker? Steve Tacker is a police officer. Was a police officer. Yeah. Okay. So now, where you headed, sir?
So the next move that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be running for the. You're going to go on and answer that, and then we'll tell them what I'm going to do.
Call from Adam Terry. Call from Adam Terry.
Okay, you're on Memphis 360. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, Mr. Williams, it's Terry Adams.
Oh,
We got cut off.
Oh, I hung up. I'm so sorry. I put the phone back on the stand, man. You know, operator, headspace, and timing.
Not a problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were in the Army, so I understand, you know. We veterans tend to make mistakes.
Yes, sir, we do.
So, that's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, we would like to get Commissioner Jones' information.
Okay.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 901-573-2343. That's the cell.
2343.
Yeah, 2343. That's the cell. If I don't answer, don't worry. Here's the second number that you need to call. 901-222-1000. That is the commission office. And all you have to do is tell them that you're calling up there to have a conversation with me or speak with me. And what they will do at that point, they're getting some new updated technology when I'm leaving, so they can actually send me a voicemail message.
Wow.
So they wait until I'm getting ready to go to do that, but it'll come to me right away. So, and so a lot of times I'm in and out of meetings, but I will call you
I
back.
understand.
Yes.
On that 22 number, I didn't get the last four of that 222 number.
222.
1000.
1000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, city number. I got it. All right. Super. I will be in touch, and I look forward to meeting you. You're doing a great job with helping like you did, and I got to thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Hey,
thank you
and
for your
thank
service.
you for your service.
It was an honor to serve, and I'll continue to do so.
That's what I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about.
Doc.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, the number to call is 244-6874, 244-6874, and I have Commissioner Eddie Jones in the studio. And we're talking about things that are occurring here in the community in the city of Memphis. We done had kind of a rocky start, right? Kind of all over the place. But see, that just lets me know he's down to earth. He just kind of weathered the storm and just kind of, okay, here we go. Let's do this thing. And I really, really appreciate that. And I'm trying to work out some of the kinks, and I'm going to have him back later on in the election season to see where he is. But I'm trying to work out some of these kinks because I want to be able to come to you guys. I was on the Memphis Police Association show. I want to start my own show back up so I could talk about what I want to talk to. I don't have any advertisers. I pay for this out of my pocket so that I can say what I want to say. This is not affiliated with the clerk's office. It's not affiliated with anything political. This is just Mike Williams' little platform to whereas he want to be able to talk about what he want to talk about. Now, if some of you guys want to donate so I can pay for some airtime, that's fine. But I'm not asking you for anything, and I'm not going to sweat you for anything because this is something I want to do and how I give back to the community to be able to let them know. Now, I got one more question for you, and then I'm going to let you go down that road. Can I ask you one more question?
One more, go ahead.
Because I have an issue.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, now I'm coming from the city to the county, and as I look around, I'm trying to figure out, we got a mass exodus of employees. Have y'all noticed that?
From the county?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but all over, actually.
Yes.
It ain't
Okay.
it ain't just the county.
Okay.
There's just, I think I was looking at a report, this is the highest number of resignations that have ever been recorded. A lot of people are just leaving.
Right.
But what I have noticed is, and not trying to be a union advocate or anything like that because I'm a chief administrative officer now in my job. However, I do think it's appropriate that we take care of the individuals. Now, it amazes me, just amazes me, sir, when I see young people that have bachelor's and master degrees. And they're making, you guys just brought them up to $15 an hour. Hold on, $15 an hour. These guys were making less than $15 an hour, bachelor and master degrees. That's required for some of these jobs. And I was doing a thing today, and I found out my temp employees make more than my daggone clerks. So I'm sitting here, got almost 30 positions that need to be filled and can't fill my positions because these young people with these bachelor's and master's degrees don't want to fill these jobs. You know what I mean? And I don't mean no harm, but that is crazy to me. And then I was talking to somebody, I was out there on Poplar and Yates. There was a Taco Bell. Taco Bell had a sign, $17 an hour.
Come on.
Hold on. Amazon starting out $19 an hour. Why? So, but you want these guys to come down here and be responsible for all of it, the volume of information and the volume of work that they handle coming through the courts. Because I can't speak for no other court, but General Sessions Court is the largest court in the state of
The
Tennessee.
most busy court.
It's the largest court in the state of Tennessee
Right.
because it's still one of the only ones that has a civil and a criminal division. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and they're processing millions through there. Plus, they're responsible for everybody that comes through the jail system, you know, initially, until they get kicked upstairs or whatever. But everybody that's arrested comes through General Sessions for arraignment or what have you. Then on the civil side, you have 6 courts over there. So, and we want these individuals to come into this environment. And like right now, I'm having an issue because of COVID, and we can't shut the courts down. So you got to have people that are going to come in, and then people get upset because they ain't getting their reset letters, they ain't getting their right appointments, they ain't doing this, they ain't doing that. Right now, my whole, Clerk Brown's whole freaking collection section was out. The whole collection section because of COVID.
Right.
You know? So, is there going to be something put in place that's going to make these young people, because most of them are young people, that we're telling we want y'all to do the right thing, we want you to grow up right, do right, and all of that. Are we going to do anything to put them, to properly compensate these young people?
All right. You know what?
Because I heard y'all was talking about something.
Yeah, we were. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Come on, Doc.
So, you know, I've been the budget chair for county government 3 years.
Right.
So I know what everything looks like. Been the vice chair of budget. So 5 of the 7 years I've been there, I've dealt with the budgets.
Okay.
So the one thing that we realized last year during budget season, myself, Commissioner Ford, we were looking at the numbers. I said, man, this is pitiful. Eventually, they ain't gonna have nobody to do this work because look what they're paying them. And so what we did in the budget season, in the budget cycle, we put money in to do a compensation study.
Correct. Okay.
So now that compensation study is about to happen so it can show us where we need to make these corrections.
Right.
The biggest problem in county government and the reason that what was happening was this. They would bring people in at the beginning level.
Entry rate, yeah.
Right, at the beginning. And they would never move them up because there is no tier system in that pay grade. So if I'm in this pay grade and I come in here, if my salary increases, it's only if
Through a raise.
through a cost of living raise.
Right, through a raise.
1% here, 2% here, over time. And if you did that, you got employees who've been there almost 30 years and hadn't even made it to the midpoint of that pay grade.
Exactly.
And so eventually what people are going to do, they're going to leave. You're going to have to fix the retirement system over there because most people coming in would have to work in almost 40-something years.
I'd work till I think they increased it to like 62.
Yeah, 62. I saw that too.
Yeah.
And so that's just unfair.
Right.
And you won't keep people doing it that way.
And I'm gonna tell you, these young people are different.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
these young people, they look at you. See, a lot of things when we came up, you know, I went in the Army because I knew at the end of 20 years they were going to give me a pension. I went on the police department because I knew after 25 years they were going to give me a pension, so I'd have that coming in the rest of my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But these young people, they like, you know what? I ain't gonna put up with this. They're mobile. They really don't, and I don't know what the deal is. But they're not. A lot of them, I guess, they're looking for something that's going to satisfy them. They're not the stick and stay kind of people. But I'm gonna tell you something. And the reason I asked you that question, sir, I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed because I had an individual that was over there that had been there like 30 plus years. And this person was making like $32,000, $33,000 a year.
Right.
30-something years. Do you hear me? 30-something years. And I'm sitting there going, and when I came in as the chief administrative officer, you know, first everybody just saying, we need more money, we need more money, we need more pay, we need more pay. You know, and then I'm like, I started looking, and I thank you guys again. I know they be saying, you be getting on our nerves. But I thank you again because I don't know if you remember, you guys gave me $110,000 because I took, for some reason, a lot of the positions over there were still like deputy court clerks that's worked in the courtrooms. We made them deputy court clerk 2s, but they took some extra money. And you guys gave me the extra money to be able to do that for those individuals. But there's a need all over when I continuously look. So I'm glad you guys are doing a study.
And you know what? And that's why we gave that $26 million, where all the employees got $5,000.
There you go.
Because of that big disparity.
Right.
And we had all of this money that came from the federal government, and we got some pushback on it, but it didn't come from the commission. It came from the administration, and the commission says no.
Okay.
Everybody else is doing it.
Yes.
And because our pay scales are so off, we're going to give this to the employees.
And I did see you guys fighting, and I really appreciate that. The next probate court clerk, my commissioner, I live in his district. He is worthy. You worthy, sir?
Yeah.
That's what my friend. I'm gonna have her on the show too, because we're gonna talk about some folks. My friend. Pat Rogers. You know, Pat be out there doing the daggone thing.
Let me tell you about Miss Rogers, and she calls me because, see, what most of them don't know, I work in both governments.
Right.
So I work for the city in code enforcement, and trust me, as many calls as I get about code issues, I get about
stuff on the commission.
And so Miss Rogers will send me stuff because I'm her commissioner, and when she finds it in my district
11,
in District 11, I'm gonna make sure it get done.
Oh wow!
And so, and not only that, she goes all over, and so, but you know, on the city side, District 6 is the district I supervise. Huge district. It comes from downtown all the way to the state line, Whitehaven, and all of that in South Memphis. So I have all of that I have to supervise for code enforcement.
Okay.
So. When I tell you that I am super busy, because blight is in our city.
Man, it's all over.
It is in our city.
Yes.
Man, I'm working on some things that I hope that we can pass that will deal with blight and all of that.
Oh, you only got 8 months.
I work quick.
Okay.
You saw how fast the veterans got their money.
That was quick.
And we just did another $1 million for a grocery store in North Memphis.
I heard about that too.
And then we did $600,000 to go on that STEM building in Whitehaven. It's just more and more, and it's coming every time we meet because I'm working on an ordinance, and we're going to have to get it to be a joint ordinance.
City county,
so that we can deal with the blight. So we got to make these landlords be more responsible.
Okay.
The tenants that you have moving into these communities, into these rental properties, they're the ones terrorizing the community. So I'm not trying to stop your money and what you're doing, but you got to have better governance and rules over the people that you're renting to.
Kind of hard though, sir, when you live in California.
Well, guess what? This ordinance is going to address all of that.
Because
you living in California and all of that, you're going to have a registered agent here on the grounds that we can get to and deal with.
Yeah, because I know people that have rental properties and their phones are blowing up because they're getting calls. I mean, it's almost like people are harassing them, trying to get them to sell their properties. You know what I mean? Because, you know, and a lot of my friends say, a lot of my friends will tell them, hey, look, man, I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to get 22 properties. You know what I mean? So stop calling me. But they religiously blow their phones up for some reason. Okay, now we're going to talk about because I don't know how much time I got. Miss Debbie needs to put a clock up here so I know how much time I got. But before we wrap this up. So now tell me, what are your plans and what are you going to do next since you're terming out on the county commission?
Since I'm terming out, I've already pulled my petition to run for the probate court clerk position.
Probate court.
Probate court.
Who's currently in that position?
Currently in that position is Bill Morrison.
Okay.
So that's where I pulled my petition. I will be running for that position. You know, want to be able to still be able to help the community and to be a part of the political, where I really don't like to say it like that, Mike, because I call myself a public servant.
Not a politician.
Not a politician.
Okay.
Now, between you and me, the constituents, it's public service for me.
Right.
But with my colleagues on the commission,
Okay.
it's political. Because I need 7 votes.
Okay.
So I got to use my
Gotcha.
political wits to
Gotcha.
get 7 votes.
Gotcha.
But I would never put politics between me and my constituents.
Okay.
That's the wrong place for it, because then you're not showing that you truly care what they're going through and dealing with.
Outstanding. Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to Memphis 360 once again. What's up, Candy Coated K's? Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. We're going to work out all of these kinks and get this thing to where it's just going to be perfecto. Next week, I'm going to have Joyride in the City. Renisha Joy, she's going to be on the show. And we're going to take it down a couple of notches and see what's happening in the streets. She's kind of plugged in and tuned in. I want to thank you guys so much once again for tuning in to Memphis 360. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure. Until next week, same time, same location. Be blessed, be strong, be encouraged, and we'll see you next week.
Watch on Comcast, Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, YouTube, Facebook Live, and all other digital platforms.
Yeah.